She's a one.
Thank you very much, Deborah. When we were talking with Alsid, we just wanted to say what kind of feedback we can deliver about accelerations. So we were thinking, actually, we could talk about our collaboration, and talk about Accelerator and what you might expect from Accelerator, and go beyond the fuss, the hype about, do I really need an accelerator? What kind of expectation can I get about that? So we're gonna have a quick fire chart about our past experience with Alcide. And Alcide indeed has raised the biggest fundraising in Serie A in Europe in cybersecurity, which is about 30 million euros, if I'm dollars, if I'm right. That was a couple of months ago. So I'm really honored to have a chat with Anne-Sybille, because we've been working along with them. And just to give you some hints about Alsid and Accelerator, we started to work together at the beginning of 2017, if I'm right. Alsid was co-founded like 6 months earlier by Luc and Emmanuel, former CEO and CTO of Alsid. And a couple of months later, Anne-Sybille joined the venture as head of operation. Do you want to say something else about Alsid? Just
Perfect for the moment. Thanks for
a
the
short
presentation.
introduction.
Cool.
So when we're thinking both together what we could deliver about our collaboration, one thing which is important is definitely that the acceleration, the achievements we try to work with and help Alsid was definitely not the same at the beginning in January 2017 and from right now. And Anne-Sybille, I just would like to know, what is your perception from the beginning when you saw the evolution of Alsid at the beginning? So everything you have to do by yourself, you have to get your first customers, and it's important to mention that Alsid is targeting at big corporates. So it's a pure enterprise software selling to CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. So what was your perception, the evolution up to now, which is about 50 employees and guys abroad as well?
Yeah. So just to begin, I'm quite sure that almost no one in these rooms already heard of Active Directory or whatsoever before. But don't worry, we are not here to talk about very boring cybersecurity stuff, especially after lunch. We are really here to talk about how to build a company from scratch with an accelerator at your side. And to answer your question, so what has changed in 3 years? Obviously, a lot of things, otherwise I would not have been here today to talk with you. But back then it was 4 people sitting around a table, and now it's almost 50 people, so it seems huge for us, spread all around the world. But when I look at Alsid back in 2017, I remember asking myself this question quite every day, to be honest. How do you build a cybersecurity software company when no one in the team has ever done it before, including me, of course? And when you have no clue what a cybersecurity vendor looks like from the inside, you tell yourself it will be quite a challenge. And what was at stake at that time when we began to work together, and why we've decided to get some help and support from an accelerator, so in your case, Accelerator, was to lay strong foundations since the very beginning so that we will be able to scale later on with healthy and a strong basis. And because, of course, at the beginning, you don't have the whole set of expertise within your company. And that's why it was brought by the network of Accelerator. And I would also want to add that when your day-to-day job is to do things you've never done before, it's a kind of relief to know that you've backed and you followed by people, and by Matthias in your case, who, don't blush, first knows the industry, and second, what is it to start from scratch? And to find this combination, it's not easy. So now it's been around 3 years, and so far so good. Yeah, and but I think it would not have been possible without the kind of relationship we've created with Accelerator and with Matthias, and how we work like hand in hand on a lot of different key topics.
Okay, cool.
We will discuss later on. Yeah.
And afterwards, if we switch to maybe achievements, so the thing I get from your point is your bet was to pick expertise from the outside to boost the knowledge, the learning curve of Alsid. That's it, yeah?
Yeah, it was exactly that. It was to pick some experts in your network so that we will be able to build, like to put the first bricks in a lot of different key topics such as HR, channel, and so on.
Okay, so you were mentioning that back in 2017 you were about 4 people. We're not gonna talk about the real product, about Active Directory and so on, but still, we all know that recruiting in cybersecurity is quite a tough challenge. There are a few scarce resources available in the market, plus you are fighting against a major company, especially US and Israeli software editors with huge resources, with big salaries as well. So what was the evolution of the recruitment process to say, well, we're still targeting at big corporates with critical needs, so we need a quite clever guy to make that sell, quite clever guy to gather a brilliant team. How did you tackle that challenge?
Yeah. So what to say about recruiting people in cybersecurity in general? Yeah. To be honest, it's just no joke. It's a kind of a day-to-day fight. It's not even to try to attract the best talents. It's just to try to find people, like just simply to find people. And when at the beginning we were nobody on these markets, and we didn't have the same level of budgets as other big vendors such as Symantec and so on. Of course, it was a huge pain, and it's really difficult to get the machine like started. But how did you succeed in recruiting 50 people so far? And how did we leverage, in your case, like Matthias and Accelerator? So when first we worked together on our strategy about recruiting people, we tried to figure out what kinds of functions, key functions, were needed when you are a cybersecurity startup company. And on the other hand, we were thinking, okay, but at that stage, which kinds of profile do we need, like senior or junior people? At first, we chose to hire junior, smart, polyvalent people able to tackle a broad range of topics and who will be able also to put the first bricks. And I think what was valuable here was not only the broad network of Accelerator to find people to hire, but also the commitments of your startup manager and his understanding of your business. Because when, later on, the first person hired in the marketing team tells you that what convinced her to join the company was the speech of your accelerator, so your pitch, in simplifying terms, about Active Directory, you tell yourself that your accelerator is a real extended arm of your business, especially when you are a small team. And later on, as we grew, we get more mature and so on, we decided, and it's quite common, to hire more senior specialists and to help us scale in the second part. And again, to give you a really concrete example, the sales and marketing director today at Alsid, were brought directly by Accelerator, and they are doing very good job. So we're quite happy. But
cool.
Yeah.
So, because the main challenge on the HR is not only, I guess, to outline we do need a CMO at that time, we do need a channel manager, but as well to outsource, to find that guy, to attract that talent, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that.
Okay. And so if we go a few years back, so we've talked about HR matters, and if we switch to business model design, about sales, how is that changed? How is that evolved over the last couple of years?
So our first challenge as a startup, I think it was the same as every startup here in this room, it was to earn your first clients. And again, as every other startups here, we wanted to do as simple and fast as possible. And in that sense, it was to sell directly the product to the end user. And being part of an accelerator here was again very valuable because we were including in a lot of different cybersecurity startup events with Yogosha, for instance, to share prospects and to gain some visibility within this industry. And other example I have in mind is also really concretely, like the introduction you've made, like with Vinci Energy, who is today one of our clients. And yeah, so at the beginning, when we were trying to selling directly to the end user, it was a huge support. And later on, as we were selling more and more, we realized that, in fact, selling directly to the end user was not market practice in this industry. And every other vendors were selling through what we call a two-tier channel model. So sorry for that word. But yeah, you sell to a distributor and resellers who sell to the end user. Yeah, it's a kind of a mess. But it's not an easy topic. And you don't find anything in books. So you really have to get some insights from people who already done it before and who knows also how is it to build this model in a small structure. And in that case, we worked with Pascal, who's here today. I don't know if he's in the room, but to build and to lay the first bricks of this channel model. And today, we are even replicating this model in other geographical areas. And yeah, I think it's quite a success.
Okay, cool. So now your today's challenge is actually to duplicate that model, that channel. So in a few words, in Scandinavia, UK, where
Asia?
else? Remember?
In Europe or everywhere on
Everywhere.
Earth?
Well, just tell us about the achievements.
Yeah. And now we are replicating this. Yeah, now we are replicating this model in Europe. So in UK, in the Nordics, in Asia also, in Hong Kong, Singapore, and maybe next year in the US. So, but each time, of course, you have to adapt this model to the local specificities. But when you have strong foundations, it's a relief because even if you have this adjustment to do, it's at the end it remains the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last points we're gonna raise is about marketing. We're not gonna talk about brand employability. That's I think on the topic. But can you tell us your perception how marketing is important in the cybersecurity and what kind of marketing product or what were you need back then?
Okay. So again, at the beginning, we were a team with no one who ever done marketing stuff before. So if I would like to talk before about how we work on that, first brick of marketing, because let's be honest, we didn't know how to tackle this topic. We didn't know how to start, and you help on that. Of course, we work together on use cases and really like practical stuff. But
all the sales marketing kits. And
exactly. So. But I really want to focus on for me, the most two important topics on which we work together. It's first to understand our market positioning, because at the beginning you just ask yourself, where am I on the market? Especially when you have tech, very innovative products, and you are at the crossing point of a lot of different markets. And in that case, you brought us, some framework and templates to understand, like where to start to understand this market positioning. And second element it was to work on the best pitch to end users, like to adapt our messaging to the different kinds of persona. Like,
depending on persona, users, buyers, stakeholders within the...
Exactly.
Yeah, because you have to reflect a really long sales complex process.
It's exactly that. And why these two topics help us a lot? It's because they contributed for us to understand our value proposition within this market, like compared to other competitors. And at the end of the day, we were better at just selling our products. Like, and so it was the first brick for me, like regarding marketing. And today, if I have to talk about our new challenges, it's more about like how can we do good and exciting marketing on a product which can seem at first sight a bit boring, not sexy. But believe me, when you know when Active Directory is it's quite cool. But today, yeah, it's more about how to be better than a US competitor regarding a product and how do we sell ourselves.
So yeah, final poll. I see we're running a bit out of time. So about your challenge, yeah, it's going to be what, US next year?
Yeah, but I think as a lot of every other startup, it's the US, best product, best team, and it's. But I think
But your first bet was to go to Asia.
Yeah. Our first bet was go to Asia. Yeah, so now we are in Asia, we are in Europe, so next step will be the US. But I think as the milestone we would like to achieve, it's more like that we will be happy when we will be able to sell the product without having like the whole team being involved to sell the product. It's like to use the least amount of internal resources. And it's a result of a lot of things, like having a smooth product to install, having like autonomous sales team and so on. And of course to create more and more value to our beloved shareholders. So,
cool. Thank you very much, Anne-Sybille. Thank you very much for your time. And
she's a one.